We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Michael, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Butts?
Here.
Ms. Shakarian?
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Here.
Ms. Rashid?
Here.
Ms. Fryer?
Here.
And Mr. Parker?
Here. Welcome. What's your first name?
Our first order of business is, this is Malak Rashid. She is our new trustee, and we're going to do the oath of office, welcoming her to the Cleveland Public Library Board of Trustees. Brian's our staff attorney. He will be doing it. And then maybe you could give us a couple minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes.
Perfect.
Should we do this
Yeah,
first?
let's do this first. Yes. Where's the flag?
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name,
I'm Malak Rashid.
do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
Where's
and
John?
that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a member of the Board of Trustees of Cleveland Public Library,
as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library,
Cuyahoga County, Ohio,
Cuyahoga County, Ohio,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
and in accordance with the laws now in effect
and with accordance to the laws now in effect,
and hereinafter to be enacted
and hereinafter to be enacted
during the term for which I was appointed.
during the term for which I was appointed.
Thank you. Sign right there. I will notarize.
Right to it.
All right, so we're doing some maneuvering. Usually the flag is over here and they had moved it to the back. So
Let's do a picture.
we're doing pictures in front of the flag, so Catherine and Brian,
There you
do you
go.
want to do some pictures just for, with the oath of office, just for the camera?
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's also fun to just get you notarizing it on the side. That would be cute too.
For a how-to video.
Yeah.
With
You should get in there.
Yes, if you do one first.
1, 2, 3. Got it.
Okay, now you're out.
Okay.
All right, Trustee Chris.
This way.
We'll make sure we get you copies of these.
3. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Got it.
All right.
The whole board. Should we just take a picture with her with the whole
Yeah.
board? Let's go stand over there in the middle.
We don't have Tom here.
Good, I already went over there. Like, you're the vice president.
Oh, where's someone else?
3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We'll get you to sign. But go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be a part of this really esteemed Board of Trustees. My name is Malak Rashid. I currently have a position with an organization called Smart Development. We work with refugees, immigrants, and non-English speakers, especially in their post-90-day services after arrival when they're phasing out of the resettlement agencies. We also do a lot of wraparound support in housing, social services, and help them provide the basic needs while they acclimate to their new communities. I am a Cleveland transplant, I would say, but I consider myself a Clevelander. I currently live in Bay Village with my parents. I am a very dedicated person to my community. I do a lot of work with other organizations, volunteering my time, supporting the similar work that I do with refugees and immigrants. It's really a big passion of mine to make sure there's equitable access for all facets of life for people to be able to thrive. And I was really excited when the position became open to apply to be considered to be a trustee, because I look at the library through my own lens of how my family experienced it. It was a really safe haven for my mom, and my mom took us here quite often to help her continued education journey so she can be able to support our family, and as well as just also taking families here that we currently serve in my job. So I see the full circle, that it's not just a place to learn, but also to have fun, which is what I experienced growing up, and now also a place where I can continue to help people. And I also serve on the Board of Care Ohio, which is a civil rights organization for Muslim Americans. And I look at all of these things as intersecting with each other to be able to protect people's freedom of thought, freedom of desire, what they hope to do, what they hope to achieve. And if I can be a part of that journey to help make their life feel more full circle. And one of the things I said in my interview, which I now hang on to, that it was kind of the first thing when I was asked, why did I consider and what do I think about the Cleveland Public Library? And my continuous thought is that there is no judgment in a library. And I think that's why the library is one of my favorite places, because no matter who you are or what you're coming for, you're going to get the help that you need. And I think that that's something I hope to be able to foster with you all.
Thank you.
And I apologize for being late. There are 450 Ignatius graduate lawyers over in the Hilton Ballroom, and one of the justices of the Supreme Court is being honored. So this job doesn't pay, as you've been told. So to keep my ability to practice law, I thought I'd better be at that briefly. So I said hello to everybody and then came here. So I appreciate and welcome. And,
Thank you so
and
much.
I think I may have the honor of swearing you in, or did somebody else do that? Oh, Brian did it. Okay,
Brian
good.
did it.
That's fine.
So you knew 399 of the attorneys here?
The younger ones, I'm not, probably 80 or 90. I know.
Thank you so much. We're gonna go ahead and move in with our the first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of 3/21/2024. If there's no omissions or additions, I move for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Thank you. We do have a presentation today. It's from the Digital Literacy Closing the Gaps. John Malcolm, is he here?
Yeah.
Oh, he was hiding.
He's here.
I like that entrance. Cool.
Nice.
Trustee Rodriguez, Director Thomas. I'm going to ask that you
Wow.
give your attention to the screen. We did have something else planned here, but in technology, things kind of don't work as you plan, but we will get to it. I'm sorry, Director.
I just want to thank you. As I've gotten older, the bigger screen makes a difference. So thank you.
And that's why we had this bigger screen here, because of what we were going to do previously. So we decided to just keep it here. So my 10 minutes can start. And
Now.
just a quick overview. And 2022 is the start date that I'm referenced to, because that's when I began at CPL as the Chief Innovations Technology Officer. The first hire was in May, and this was specifically for CPL IT for May of 2022 with our esteemed Senior Director, Tony Long. And in 2023 is when we considered us having a full stack team. I would like all the CPL IT and our Tech Central team, if you're in here, to please stand for a second. This is a foundation. Prior to this team being here,
Can I interrupt?
definitely.
And I hope this ain't gonna, can you introduce them by name, so in case
Oh,
we see
boy.
All
them?
right. Yeah, we won't take this off
We
the
won't
10
take
minutes.
that.
So,
Just please.
So I'm going to start over here with Tim. Tim has been with CPL for
7 years.
7 years, but at the time he worked under Tech Central. Now he's under IT directly. We had Jungu. Jungu, we stole from Chicago Museum of Science and Industry, correct? And he's focused on our immersive technologies and some of the things you're going to see coming up for our 2024. We have Terrence. Terrence has been a longtime librarian or library staff, and he's had 2 degrees in technology, and he's been on the team since January of 2023. We have Danielle, our young student who's completing her dual degree, one in what? IT and math. And that'll be undergrad and your master's, correct?
Cleveland State.
All right.
All right.
Everyone knows Susie, and you'll hear from her shortly. Allison, our Tech Central Technology Associate, and I can't remember, I can barely remember my title. We have Prince. Prince has been at MLK, you were there 8 years, and he transitioned into Tech Central as a technology associate and is now one of our new assistant managers in Tech Central. We have Robin Gavin. Robin is our newest. Robin just started a month ago with us now. She is from the Federal Reserve. She did outreach and programming with them. She is now one of our Tech Central assistant managers. And before that, a long and storied career in animation, development, design, and about to receive a proclamation from City of Pittsburgh for some of her outreach projects. When is that? In a couple weeks. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Tony Long, everyone, if you don't know Tony, he actually is the one that's keeping things running while I'm, often doing all kinds of crazy ideas that they're like, John, why are we doing this? But Tony is our Senior Director of IT and another proud Youngstown State graduate, along with Prince, yes, and along with me. And we have Raghav, who is, I'm sorry, I was just looking behind you, is fresh on board in December from the Cleveland Foundation. Raghav is focused on community innovations. He's a graduate of CASE. You have both your undergrad and your master's from CASE. One of the smartest people that I know between all of this group. They are all smarter than I am, but that's my job to put together a great team. This will be the best library IT team in this country when this is all said and done. And did I miss anybody? I don't think so. All right.
Well,
Thank
you're
you.
the smart one to hire them all.
That's only that much smart. And I just want to highlight in this first year of last year of 2023 of this team being around, we have a dedicated team to support not just the internal needs. There's so much that goes on that you guys don't see, but there's a lot that you do see. We've replaced over 375 Windows 7 computers that really should have been out of the system in 2018-19. We've established these partnerships, one being the CPL CMSD library card that's attached to the student ID. That's over 35,000 students. We're doing forms automation and development with our creative tech unit. We have closed over 3,600 IT support tickets. And I know that's just a big number, but that's what I had to give you without getting into the details. There's constant requests, whether it's resetting a password, my PC's not working, or whatever it may be that this team all supports and takes care of. IT staff has over 20 new certifications over this last year. And it is critical and crucial that being in this field, we stay up to date with technology. And what I can tell you, these are not simple and easy certifications. They have to spend hours and months training, preparing. Sometimes you don't pass, but I don't think we missed one yet. One of the hardest certifications is a PMP, project management certification that's been achieved by Tony. That's one of the most difficult certifications in professional, not just IT, but along the same lines as, yes, Carrie, the CPA. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Real quick, I was gonna show a video of Ms. Jacqueline Lamb and Raghav. They spoke on New Day Cleveland. I'll send the link and make sure that you guys all have it. Well, it's public, so it's nothing we can hide now. But it was such a wonderful job talking about where we're going with Studio 525, why we need to expose our youth and our teens to innovation and various things. So I will ask that you guys look at that when you can. Internal innovations for 2024, that's inside half of this stuff you probably don't even care about or want to care about. We're managing our domain now. Intune device management. We assigned a new agreement for our internet. Oh my gosh. That's been an issue since I got here. But we had to wait, people ask all the time, why is our internet so slow? Change it. Well, we had to wait till the contract ended with our, current provider. So if you look at the bottom there, you'll see our internet at our branches, our current circuits at 100 meg. Our new circuits that will come in late this year will be at 1 gig. So that's 10 times faster than what we have today. This is a direct support of us internally and our patrons. And I'll just keep sliding on here because I know director's looking at his watch. Patron innovations, we talked about Studio 525. 525 has been open for over a month now. It was open in March 5th, I think was our first day. We're averaging 5 to 15 teams coming in there. We have not advertised one bit, and that has been on purpose. So what we're doing is trying to gather and understand what programming needs we're going to be really supplying in there and how we're going to be effective for our teams going forward. Yesterday, when I was walking out, I was looking in the window from the outside. I believe there was about 6 to 8 teams in there yesterday. It was kind of full. It's just going to be wonderful. We're collaborating with Joel, who's a TA out at South. And this is going to be an extension of people are always asking, how can we make this work in the branches also? Well, that's through this internal collaborations that we're doing. Our Tech Express mobile van will be coming to a neighborhood near you very soon. It's been purchased. It's sitting at the dealership lot. Our next steps will be covering the van and getting the artistic values put on that. Thanks, Tana, for working with us on that. We'll be doing some upgrades to the interior so it can support the technology we're going to have. We'll be rolling out the latest and greatest of Windows for Lee Harvard. Yes, I said that. And because we have to keep it moving forward, we can't let our technology get stale and die. And weather stations, you're going to hear from Susie on that shortly. Some other things we're doing, Jungu's done virtual visits to China, and this was actually in our library with the headsets with people who have been there and have not been there, and it was a wonderful experience that they asked him to take this on the road to Case Western Reserve, which he's done 2 or 3 classes on the virtual visits and some other things. Yep, Jungu, I did share this. Look for this to come soon. If you don't know, you'll see it in not too long. Our community innovations and our partnerships, these are a few of them right there that we have very established partnerships with. Most recently, thanks Shanice and her team, with PwC, we were awarded a grant that you'll hear about later. I guess next month it'll come before you guys. We have, who knew that we had libraries at Tri-C, CSU, and Case?
I know Cleveland State.
Yes, Cleveland State, Tri-C, and Case. We just did an upgrade of their technology that's owned by the library last week. It was all finished out for self-service checkout at those sites also. And I'm gonna hurry up and zip it over to our Chief meteor, that is right, chief meteorologist. That is not a joke. Susie, thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Susie Perez, Tech Center Manager, but as everyone has heard, I'm also a meteorologist. That is my background. So I am bridging my two worlds with a project on microclimates. I had received a grant to put weather stations on top of our buildings. So there are 7 of them. So for those who don't know, a microclimate is just a climate of a very small area. We talk about climate change as a whole, but there are microclimates that can affect everything. What's happening at the lake is not happening at West Park. It's not happening at Harvard Lee. So we are going to be studying that through these weather stations. And we just launched our website for this, and everyone can see the weather stations. This is just kind of an example of where we were prior to the stations. The picture on the left are all of the personal weather stations in the city of Cleveland, which there were 2, not including
Wait,
the
could you
fish.
say that again?
There
Louder, I couldn't hear
are
you.
2 personal weather stations. On the west side, there are 2 official reporting stations at both airports, Hopkins and Burke. And the picture on the right are all the weather stations in Columbus.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So comparing the 2, Columbus had a lot. So what I wanted to do was leverage our buildings, which encompass the city of Cleveland, to double that amount. So we have a weather station here at Maine, Lorraine, Eastman, Fulton, Woodland, Collinwood, and Harvard Lee.
This is so cool.
Now, there are pockets of areas that are not covered, and I'm hoping to add more later on, but those are the 7 that we have. Our equipment measures temperature, barometric pressure, wind direction, speed, precipitation. We recently bought a lightning detector for main campus. And then we are placing 2 ambient outdoor air quality monitors, 1 east side, 1 west side, to complement what the county does.
Who would think?
Is it NOACA that does that? Is it the
Um,
county or NOACA?
I think NOACA does it. And then this is just a quick video from our webcam of an event that you guys may have all heard of, our eclipse. So Brian, if you can, Play.
You're controlling.
oh, can I play it? There we go.
Are local news stations aware that we have all of these?
So we will be working with Susie to introduce this to all of the media stations so that the weathermen and
That was
women are aware.
Wow.
That was very
That's
cool.
beautiful, beautiful.
So this is live right now. Anyone can watch the camera. Our data is free for anyone who wants to download it and use it. We are going to be sharing our data with the National Weather Service, so that can also be included into models that help improve forecasting.
Nice.
Can we add our quick question? What makes a weather station sort of official? You mentioned previously there were 2 private ones, so does our sort of technology and setup means they will be an official weather station or not exactly?
So what we have to do for them to be official and to feed into that database is we have to sign up and register our weather stations. Right now, they're not registered yet, but they will be, and then they go through a quality check. And as long as that passes, that information gets imported into that database.
Got it. Is that something we're going to be pursuing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you walk down the hall to the 10th floor, right by Michael's desk, there's this kind of thing. And so I walked by it and you could see the temperature and what it looks like outside. And it'll tell you all that information, or I could just go online, but it's easier just to kind of walk around. So you can walk over and see it right after us. But we have one of the cams here and one at the 7 other libraries. So.
I'm sorry, Susie. What other library systems sort of have this, or is it quite rare and we're one of few?
There are a handful throughout the country that have some. Whether they're feeding them into the National Weather Service, I'm not sure.
Okay. As part of our grant, like what kind of media profiling and things will we be doing to share this out? And I think a few months ago, I think you were talking about an education component. Can you say more about what that would mean for the public and maybe school-age children?
Yeah, so there's something called citizen science that the National Weather Service likes to promote. So we are hoping that we will have programming around the stations at not just the branches that have the stations, but the surrounding ones. So all the branches can participate and kind of use those 7 locations as like an anchor. So there will be programming around weather using our stations as well.
Perfect.
And-
Sorry, I'm peppering you.
Programs you just mentioned, the programs you just completed for the students.
Oh, yes, so and we can discuss this at another board meeting, but our Science and Technology Department has partnered with CMSD and the EPA to do an air quality project. It's not necessarily my project, but we are participating with it. But we have weather stations and the schools will be able to check them out to their students.
Nice.
And hopefully one last question. Of the state, are there other library systems that also have similar, or are we sort of like the only one? I'm just curious.
There are, like Sue said, there are a few libraries that are doing this throughout the country, but no one else has a meteorologist to lead it, right? So like when other people talk to me and other libraries talk across the country about it, I was like, it'll be nothing compared to ours. Yeah, you know, and so there is some work to make sure we get it out in the community and people know about it and be able to see it on the website and recognize that when they watch or look at our front of our website, they can get the temperature currently across the city to know what the temperature is, on the other side of town.
Well, certainly great. And if we are, amongst the only ones in the state, that's something definitely to
Yeah.
out and share. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
That's-
Awesome.
Well
Thank
done,
you,
Susie.
Susie. Wow. Is that it, Mr. Malcolm?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That's good information. Yes. I think we have one piece of communication, Director.
Yes, this is from the mayor's office.
At me already.
It says, Dear Director Thomas, Monday was an exciting day for the city of Cleveland as city council passed legislation creating the Shore to Core to Shore TIF district. The TIF district will unlock catalytic public and private investments, which will strengthen and grow our city. I ran for mayor on the slogan Cleveland Can't Wait, and the passage of this TIF district is an example of the city taking proactive steps toward growth. As I've said many times, we can continue fighting over a dwindling share of tax revenues from a declining base of jobs and residents, or we can invest to grow the pie for everyone. My administration has chosen the latter. I know you and your board have expressed concern about the potential future impacts of the TIF district on the Cleveland Public Library. Please know that I value CPL tremendously and view you as a critical partner in my administration and our city's success. Rest assured that my administration will do everything in its power to ensure that the TIF district succeeds and brings the type of growth and prosperity to Cleveland that helps advance CPL's mission. We believe the public infrastructure investments from the TIF district will bring billions of dollars of private investment, thousands of jobs, and billions of dollars of economic impact and additional tax revenue, which will help the city and CPL do even more. I look forward to continuing to partner and support CPL from the upcoming ribbon cutting at the MLK branch to the future development in Lee Harvard to collaborative work around youth and adult literacy in our city. Sincerely, Justin and Bibb, Mayor, City of Cleveland.
Thank you, Director. We're now going to move into the president's report. I just have 2 short things, and I don't know if I mentioned it last month when we met, but I did have lunch with the board president of CMSD, and I'm trying to build a stronger connection with them. I think last November we did have a meet and greet. I wasn't able to attend. I had a family emergency that came up, but I know we were well represented. And I think that's something we need to continue. So meeting, and we also were able to talk to Sada about what we were looking for in our board. And here is the product of a little bit of our conversation that she went back and spoke to her fellow trustees
I
about.
actually was in yoga class with one of the CMSD board members who said she wished you could be on their board. She said she was so impressed by your speech, she wanted you to.
Oh, that's so
But we
nice.
can't
That's a
split you in
compliment.
half.
Yeah. So I think that's something that we need to continue our relationship and continue building. And I think we will be hosting another meet and greet with them because as their board changes, so does ours. So I think this is something we don't want to keep on the wayside, but to grow. So. And the other, I'm probably taking this from the director, but that's okay. As you all know, the governor was here on Tuesday and he had a roundtable discussion about literacy and what he's choosing to do. And it was a lot. There was a lot of people right after the Finance and the Human Resource Committee meeting. There was about, 50 people there from all over the city. Expressing their interest and concerns about his plan. I have not heard about the plan that he's trying to encourage schools and stuff. There's a lot to me, most importantly to me. I didn't get to ask a question, but I would have loved to see. And I'm sure he'll be providing us with more information on how that funding will be affecting us as we start to partner and begin to do and encourage some of the literacy at the 0 to 5.
Yeah.
Thank you. Director?
So in my director's report, I wanted to report on 3 things. One, first of all, the work of the staff before the eclipse. We had a lot of programming over at the Science Center. We gave up upwards of 50,000 solar eclipse glasses for the community, 4,000 books. The staff kept on sending me pictures with lines getting longer and longer and longer. So I just appreciate their assistance. And it was we did a great work on helping. And coming down on Saturday and seeing all of the folks here for programming and then all the folks in the city. I think the city represented itself well for the Final Four, the women's Final Four, and for the eclipse. I think it was a great weekend for us. Soon after, or actually just before that, we had come back from Columbus for the Public Library Association conference, and Trustee Corrigan was the lone board member, but represented as well. And we had a number of staff do programs there. I did a couple of programs and presentations to the there. And we also had our HR department out there recruiting for our children's librarian. So the conference was one of the biggest conferences that the Public Library Association had ever had. So it went really, really well. And then finally, on March 25th, chess grandmaster Maurice Ashley was here. And Maurice Ashley is the first and I believe only African-American grandmaster. And it was really, so I had a chance to go and sit with him and talk to him. And it was a really interesting conversation about how he felt about our collection. And he said, we have some of the greatest materials on chess in the world. What he did, challenge us to do was figure out how do we connect that more to our larger community. What he says he does is he gets a lot of chess sets that are tied to sports. So he will go in New York where he lives, he'll get like a Giants and a Jets chess set. And they make chess sets specifically for the different sports. And he will then bring them to the games and sit down and have people play them in that sense. Or he'll like have chess tournaments. And if the kids, whoever wins, they get to 3D print a specific chess set just to their liking, the way they want the assets to be set. So I think there are ways that we can look at how we can use all the resources we have to build on the fact that we have the largest collection of material on chess in the world, right? And so folks did that. And that's it for me.
That's so exciting, though.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move into the Finance Committee report. Trustee Corrigan?
Yes, Exhibit 1 is a resolution to accept the gifts for the month of March, whereas the board receives gifts, monies, library service materials, technology resources, and other non-monetary gifts from generous citizens from time to time. Attached to this resolution is the gift report itemizing those gifts. Be it resolved that the gifts described in the gift report for March 2024 be accepted on the conditions connected with said gifts in accordance with Section 337540K of the Ohio Revised Code. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 2 is a resolution authorizing an agreement with TE Saint or Tech Inc. Engineering and Design for Criteria Architect Services for the main library and Lewis Stokes Wing Fire Alarm System Replacement Project. Whereas on February 15, 2024, the board accepted the recommendation of the Library Selection Committee for Tech Inc. Engineering and Design to provide criteria architect services for the main library and Lewis Stokes Wing Fire Alarm System Replacement Project. Whereas the board authorized Executive Director to enter into negotiations for an agreement with Tech Inc. in accordance with the requirements of our Ohio Revised Code 153.69 and to submit the agreement to the board. Whereas after discussions between the library and Tech Inc. regarding the technical scope and proposed fee for the project, Tech Inc. has proposed to complete the work on a phased fixed fee basis for a total of $333,000 in base services, an allowance of $37,600 for additional services, and an allowance for reimbursable expenses for $2,000 for a grand total of $372,600. Whereas the library's property management staff notes that the fee includes laser scanning and 3D modeling in the main and LSW complex, which accounts for nearly 50% of the fee, and which at Finance Committee we identified to now belong to us and be usable for other projects. Which services were included for the original request for qualifications and contemplation of project scope. While this would not typically be included in criteria design scope, the age and format of this library's current as-built drawings necessitates these services in order for the design to proceed. Whereas the board finds the fee for the criteria architect services for the replacement project to be fair and reasonable, now therefore be it resolved that the board authorizes Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to execute an agreement with Tech Engineering and Design in an amount not to exceed $372,600 for the fire alarm system replacement project on such terms and conditions as approved by the Library Director of Legal Affairs and such other documents that are necessary or appropriate to effectuate the agreement in accordance with the resolution, with the expenditure of $372,600 being charged to the Building and Repair Fund account 401-90105-5530022901 construction improvements. So moved.
Second?
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Resolution to amend design services agreement with Bostwick Design Partnership for Main Library Consolidation Project. Whereas on June 16, 2011, the board authorized the library into an agreement with Bostwick Design Partnership to provide services for the Main Library Consolidation Project Phase 1, which included reconfiguring the lower level of the Stokes Wing to create Tech Central for a total cost of $227,700. Whereas on April 19, 2012, the board approved an amendment to the agreement for a total fee amount not to exceed $284,000. Bostwick total fees for the main library consolidation project phase 1 total $282,830.87, leaving $1,169.13 unspent. Whereas since Tech Central opened in 2012, it's been well used by the public and is in need of finish upgrades, lighting replacements, and repairs to its low-profile raised floor. Additional usage patterns and demand for services have evolved since Tech Central opened, which necessitate configuration of portions of the space. Whereas Bostwick submitted a proposal to the library to perform the design services for the needed upgrades and repairs and reconfiguration for an additional fee of $61,700, increasing Bostwick's total compensation for Phase 1 of the main library consolidation project to $344,530.87, which fee this board finds to be fair and reasonable. And whereas on January 18th, the board accepted a gift from the Gene Z Piety Trust to be used for expenditures in connection with the development and expansion of a makerspace on the first floor of LSW. The library administration wishes to use this gift for Tech Central 2.0 project, which aligns the board's intent with the board's intent. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Library Trustees authorizes the director, CEO, or his designee to enter into an amendment to the agreement with Bostwick Design Partnership for the project Phase 1 and Tech Central in the amount of $61,700, thus increasing Bostwick's total compensation under the agreement to a not to exceed $344,530.87, which expenditure shall be charged to the Founders Fund account 203962055530011962, in which agreement shall be subject to the approval by the library's Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second?
And we talked about this somewhat at the Finance Committee, and one of the things that I emphasized is the investment we made in the low-profile floor that makes it possible to rerun things without blasting into concrete and doing major construction. And so the foresight of the board back then was pretty significant in how we built this building.
So they said to begin immediately. Do you have any idea how long this will take, John?
The kickoff meeting with the architect and the engineering team is already scheduled for next week. So assuming the board approves this resolution, we'll jump into design. We are trying to streamline the design phase, the procurement method, and the construction window. I think an ambitious case would be to be breaking ground for it this summer.
John Lang.
There's so much involved in this process. I didn't realize how.
Sorry, with the new board member, for our leadership team, when you do speak, if you could just announce your name, your title.
Hi, Trustee Rashid. I'm John Lang. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, so I lead our property management department. And I also oversee our capital design and construction program. It's a 10-year capital program. I look forward to meeting with you personally to give you updates on it, but we usually use the handle FMP, which is Facilities Master Plan. This project that we're presenting right now is outside of the FMP.
Okay.
We can take a vote.
So you have no estimation exactly? I didn't hear that.
Oh, I think we're hoping to be 60 to 90 days in design, contracting by late summer. The architects can help us figure out the construction period. John Malcolm and Susie really want to kind of keep this as compact as possible. Personally, I'm more concerned about the downtime to the patrons than I am about when the project occurs. That said, my internal clients want the project to occur as quickly as it can. We're definitely shooting for 2024.
Thanks.
Yes. Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And to the new trustee, I should explain that Finance Committee is always the longest part of the standing committee reports at every board meeting. And so the Finance Committee meeting on usually earlier in the same week, we go into a little more detail. And so it seems a little rubber stampy sometime and too quick. But we do want to make sure that if you have a question, stop us. The only way the rest of this board got smart is because that's what they've done, and I'm sure that's what you can do too. So don't be shy.
Okay.
All right. Exhibit 4 is a resolution authorizing acquisition of real property for the Rice Branch. Whereas New Village Corporation, doing business as STL Development LLC, is a subsidiary of the Cleveland Neighborhood Progress and is the owner of a parcel of vacant land bearing permanent parcel number 128-08013, which is located directly adjacent to the library's Rice Branch. And whereas New Village approached the library in January of 24 to discuss the possibility of selling the property of the library for a nominal sum, because the New Village had no use for it. Whereas the administration completed its due diligence on the property and found no issues that would preclude the library from purchasing the property. And we found out at committee, we've been maintaining it all these years anyway. Whereas the library administration recommends that this board authorize the library to purchase the property from New Village Corporation for the price of $1. And whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 3375.35 requires that the purchase of any real property be authorized by a 2/3 vote of the full membership of the board before making such purchase. Now therefore, be it resolved, the board of the Cleveland Public Library hereby authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to enter into an agreement or agreements with New Village Corporation doing business as STL Development LLC, in the amount of $1, plus the cost of title insurance, recording, escrow, and other closing fees, and to execute such other instruments as are necessary for the acquisition of the property bearing permanent parcel number 1280801, through which agreement and instrument shall be subject to the approval of the Director of Legal Affairs, and which amount shall be charged to General Fund Account 177-60055-55100, land. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr.
Easy to
Corrigan?
say yes.
Yes.
for one, though.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 5 is a resolution authorizing competitive bidding for the Eastman Reading Garden Lighting Project. Whereas Eastman Reading Garden, with its Mile End design fountain and sculptures and its playful Tom Honorist design figures and entry gates, is regarded by many as a true gem of downtown Cleveland. Whereas the administration retained the services of Ron Friedman Lighting Design to develop an exterior lighting solution for Eastman Reading Garden with the goals of making the space more accessible and inviting to the public and highlighting its unique architectural features as well as those of the main library and the Lewis Stokes wing. Whereas Ron Friedman Lighting Design prepared detailed specifications for the installation of the lighting in the garden that include, lighting elements designed to accentuate those features and attract visitors and increase visitor safety. And whereas Ron Friedman Lighting Design estimates the new equipment and labor required will cost approximately $692,000. Whereas the library is bound by the Ohio Revised Code, Section 3375.41, which requires the competitive bidding to use to select a contractor for all construction projects costing over $75,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the executive director, CEO, or his designee is authorized to proceed with the soliciting of competitive bids for the purchase and installation or installation alone of lighting equipment specified by Ron Friedman Lighting Design for the Eastman Reading Garden Lighting Project. So moved.
Second.
I did have a question just in anticipation of, we have an anniversary of our main building coming up soon. And the connection of this project to potentially lighting the full main for its anniversary, has there been thought given? Yeah.
So the scheduling of the project was intentional to have it done before the 2025 celebration. I mean, it does, the scope that we're currently contemplating does not include the Superior Avenue facade of the building. We thought we'd start the garden, the connections to Public Square and the public access and increasing the hours was what was driving. And as you can see, it's not a cheap project just for the garden, but it is in our thinking that if this is a successful project and resources allow, we would contemplate moving on to the Superior side of the building next.
And I appreciate very much the subsequent presentation after our finance committee with the renderings, and it's very impressive, very impressive.
Yeah, Stephanie, I think she sent that to all of us through our emails.
Oh,
So
Tiffany,
thank
sure.
you,
I'm
Stephanie.
sorry.
Thank you. And then Tiffany's behind you.
And for those who weren't here on Tuesday, Tiffany identified that, so you know, Ron Friedman Lighting Design are the people who've turned Public Square and particularly the Terminal Tower into the wonderful lighted space that it is now, including the modern LED stuff that permits, 11 million possible colors and things like that. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
program.
Tiffany can bring up the presentation. We can bring
that's
it.
great.
So introduce yourself.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Tiffany Graham-Charkowski. I'm Director of Arts and Culture. Oh. How do I turn it on?
It's not on?
There's a little button.
Okay, well, I won't use it. I'm Tiffany Graham-Charkowski, Director of Arts and Culture, and we wanted to bring this project to this group and started working on it with a series of goals. If we want to look at this next slide, we really wanted to make sure that we were beckoning visitors to the garden. Our Stokes wing is visible from very far north, like for conference goers and people who are staying at the Hilton Hotel and other spaces. We also want to make sure that this is an important place that is a really critical building block in the urban infrastructure throughout downtown. So if you're walking from City Hall up to Euclid Avenue, and beyond, our garden is sort of the most perfect cut-through space, if you will. And I think what this will do is change it from a pass-through to more of a space that people feel invited to use when it's dark, which we know it's dark for a long time here. It will really sort of enhance the sense of place here, increase the safety. And what I think I love so much about this project is it is enhancing the beauty of what we already have. Our architecture is stunning. It's world class here. We have a fountain by Maya Lin. We have bronze gates by Tom Otterness. These are works of art and they are worthy of being called out. And without needing to add anything new to the garden, we are really just highlighting and enhancing all of the amazing assets that we already have. And I think the other thing that that does is many people don't realize that that garden is the library. I think this does a great job of really framing it as a place that is the library. We are all sort of one big campus here. So we're just really excited to get to bring this up. And if you go to the next slide, you can see some examples of the precedent lighting that we were looking at. This will be an LED lighting system. People will be able to change it from a computer or their phone in the way that you do with the terminal tower. So it gives the library the opportunity to pre-program things like Pride Month and other holidays into our calendar. So we're sort of always in conversation with affinity months and things that are going on. It also will let us, like when the Browns finally win a Super Bowl or something, we will be able to, celebrate
Yes.
opportunities like that. We'll be able to be in more kind of constant conversation
There was
with
a
events
gasp
and
in the room.
activities that are going on.
Come through the pictures there.
Yeah.
Gotta roll it.
Okay, next slide. These just took some building renderings. This is the terminal tower, an example of like the rainbow of images we'll have. And then the next slides are just some nice wash images, computer generated, of sort of the different types of color. And you can see what we have to work with. We have an amazing amount of architectural features to be highlighting all throughout the garden. And what we want to do here is really pinpoint these and make them as beautiful as possible. So thank you.
I just have a question. It's just color, correct? You can't, it doesn't project images. Just
These are
color.
not images. No, that's like at a whole different level. Mhm. Yep. All right. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
my fault, though. I
Sir,
apologize.
We're taking
No,
a
no.
vote on Exhibit 5?
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 6 is a resolution authorizing expenditures for a proper public purpose. Whereas the Ohio Revised Code states that the library trustees have authority to expend for library purposes in the exercise of the powers enumerated in this section, all monies derived from county public library fund otherwise generally do all things necessary for the establishment, maintenance, and improvement of the free public library under its jurisdiction. And on September 13, 2022, the board authorized the library to contract with Ubiquitous Design for the design of a new staff break room. And this board ratified the library's agreement with Rycon Construction Incorporated. Whereas Ubiquitous Design's plans include a modest exercise room measuring approximately 260 square feet, which the library estimates is enough space to accommodate a stair climber, treadmill, stationary bicycle, multifunction trainer, and a rack for handheld weights. Whereas the library would like to expend public funds to construct and equip this exercise area, and whereas the library funds to promote this plan require that the expenditures that the library makes be for a proper public purpose. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees declares the expenditure of funds to construct, equip, and maintain a staff exercise area within the new staff break room be a proper public purpose and authorizes the library's fiscal officer to expend monies on occasion for these purposes. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
I'm going to abstain.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 7 is a resolution to renew the maintenance agreement with Tyler Technologies Incorporated for support and to update licensing of the Munis ERP system. Whereas on March 2006, the library entered into an agreement with Tyler Technologies for maintenance of the library's Munis human resources, payroll, and job. Of the current maintenance agreement with Tyler Technologies is May 16, 2024. Therefore, be resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes Executive Director, CEO, or designee to execute all documents necessary to renew the maintenance agreement with Tyler Technologies, subject to the Director of Legal Affairs approval for the period beginning May 17, 2024 and ending May 16, 2025. At cost not to exceed $93,326.04, with the expenditure being charged to the general fund account 1301003-53360, computer maintenance. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez? Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit A is a resolution ratifying agreements for leased vehicles with Enterprise FM Trust, whereas on March 18, 2021, the board authorized the library to lease and maintenance agreements with Enterprise FM Trust for 15 vehicles for a period of 60 months, and whereas due to the long lead times caused by supply chain issues stemming from global COVID-19 pandemic, the library has only been able to accept deliveries on a piecemeal basis, has now received 13 of the 15 vehicles. Whereas on March 12th, the library took delivery of 3 new vehicles from Enterprise, all of which are 2024 Chevrolet Malibus, as shown in the lease schedules attached to this resolution. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library hereby ratifies and approves the lease with Enterprise FM Trust of these 3 new vehicles as shown in the attachment. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes,
Ms. Rodriguez?
Which article is that one?
this is the leased vehicles.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 9 is a resolution to accept the grant from Best Buy Foundation for the Best Buy Teen Tech Center at Rockport Branch. And whereas on September 21, 17, the board accepted a grant from Best Buy to open the Best Buy Teen Tech Center at Rockport. And whereas the Best Buy Teen Center at Rockport opened in November of 2018, and to help develop critical skills to enhance that activities, exploring interests of our patrons in programming, filmmaking, music production, and design. Whereas on March 24, the Best Buy awarded the library a $90,000 renewal grant to support and sustain the Best Buy Tech Center at Rockport. Whereas the actual grant amount received will be $43,294.09, which represents the difference from unspent funds to the 2023 Clubhouse to Career College grant from Best Buy that the library is unable to spend in full due mainly to staffing changes. Whereas the Cleveland Public Library is grateful for the continued support in making Best Buy Teen Center at Rockport a success, be it resolved that the Cleveland Public Board of Library Trustees, pursuant to the authority set forth in 3375.40K of the revised code, hereby accepts a grant from Best Buy in the amount of $90,000 to be deposited in the 257 Tech Centers Fund account, 257-046-46100. Be it further resolved that the Executive Director, CEO, or designee is authorized to enter into and execute such agreements and instruments that are necessary approved by the Library Director of Legal Affairs that are necessary appropriate to effectuate the terms and conditions of this grant and resolution. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 10 is a resolution to accept the grant from the Cleveland Public Library Foundation for early literacy programming, whereas the Public Library Foundation fundraises and seeks grants from various organizations and donors to help and able to provide financial support to the library. Whereas the library and the foundation have developed a process through which the library may submit written requests for funding of the foundation. Whereas the Director of Youth and Family Engagement submitted a request for funding of the foundation seeking $15,000 to support the early literacy program initiatives for youths ages 0 to 8. Whereas the foundation approved the library's request and agreed to grant the library $15,000, which funding which will be used to create and present literacy programming. And resolved that the board pursuant to the authority set forth in our revised code 337540K, hereby accepts a grant from the Library Foundation in the amount of $15,000 to be deposited in the 258 Early Literacy Fund account 258-046-46100-12713, and be it further resolved, the Executive Director, CEO, or designee is authorized to enter into and execute such agreements and instruments as may be necessary or appropriate to effectuate the terms and conditions of this resolution, which shall be subject to the approval of the Library's Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 11 is the Fourth Amendment to the year 2024 appropriation, whereas the Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.40 provides for the amendment of an appropriation measure when necessary, and whereas now deemed necessary to amend the year 2024 appropriation to comply with the amended official certificate from the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission, and whereas the aggregate of all appropriation classifications does not exceed the total amount submitted to the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission, now therefore be it resolved, the sums indicated in the attached Fourth Amendment to year 2024 appropriation schedule be approved. So moved.
Second.
And Carrie, the big change here is just the grants that we're talking about in the previous resolutions, correct?
Yes, welcome trustee. My name is Carrie Krenicki. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the library, and I'm also the Fiscal Officer for the Board of Trustees. Yes, the biggest appropriation change is actually the appropriation in the Building and Repair Fund for the tech architect fees for the fire alarm. And then we are appropriating funds in the various special revenue funds as attached in the amount of just over $88,900 for grants received during this board meeting, and also some additional revenue that was received beyond our projection that we're appropriating.
And going forward, it looks like the year is still going well for the state in terms of the projected funds. Isn't that correct?
The PLF is lower than estimated, so.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
it's about
It is.
9% lower.
Yeah, it's about, our last distribution was about 9% lower than our estimate in December. And I think that it were maybe a little over 130,000 below our current certification in PLF.
Okay. And does the state offer an explanation at all?
It could be timing,
Okay.
right? Taxes come in at different times.
Yeah.
Mr. Fisher, did we already do the vote?
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
The remaining parts of the Finance Committee are the Fiscal Officer's Report, Report A, Report on Investments, Report D, Report on Conference and Travel Expenditures, Report C, Report on all vendor expenditures, Report D, and Report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency funds for the Huff, Jefferson West Park, Woodland Central Distribution Facility, Lorraine, Eastman, MLK Junior, Brooklyn, Rockport, and Glenville projects of Phase 1, and report on expenditures from the owner's contingency fund for the high-density shelving project, Report F. And finally, Report G, the fees paid for legal and consulting services for the period January 1 to 3/31/2024, basically the first quarter legal and consulting fee report. That concludes the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Trustee Corrigan. We're now going to move into the Human Resource Committee report. Trustee Shakarian, please.
Thank you, Madam President. The Human Resources Committee report includes Exhibit 12, the regular employee report detailing new hires, transfers, resignations, terminations, retirements, and compensation changes.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Should make Michael do that every time.
Wow.
Just put his hands on the backs of everybody as they vote.
It is my honor to present the retirement recognition citation to Mr. Ron Hill, 34-year veteran, on the occasion of his retirement. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
And
Mr. Hill here?
he is not, but
Oh.
Mr. Lang saw him very recently. And he will probably not be coming back. He is enjoying his time away.
He is. I kept in touch with him. He appreciates the recognition. And I'll just note my tenure with the library is only 3 years, but I happen to know that Ron served as a page with Chief Skirdick 34 years ago.
I love it.
He came up through the ranks of the custodial, and he ended his career here as the supervisor of the shipping and receiving department.
That's awesome.
And we should probably, they're talking about it, thanks. I'll tell you that later.
And the balance of our report, our reports on paid sick time, demographics, and insurance summary. And that concludes the Human Resources Committee report.
Thank you, Trustee Shakari. We're now moving into the community service report. Trustee Parker, please.
Yes, we have a report today on my activity report that shows our circulation. 2023 annual summary is report L, which has all the library trends, which is great information. We want to go in this order, the building status update, although we heard a lot of that. If there's anything left, Mr. Lang, then followed by advocacy, foundation, and then diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Just one update, and I'm sorry that it's not really a positive one, specifically on the MLK project.
All right, we'll think of it positive.
Well, the work has moved forward, and we're still looking forward and optimistic for an MLK Day 2025 opening celebration. We did have a setback this month. As you all know, we occupy the lower 2 floors of an 11-story structure that's under development agreement. We had expressed concerns to the developer several months ago about their schedule, their inability to meet schedule with regards to the cladding, the glazing, and then the roofing of their structure. So that was on notice via council. It impacted our ability to start drywall in early this year. We felt like the water infiltration issues associated with the lack of the roof and the lack of the siding had been managed, so we did start our drywall. I don't know what happened because January, February, March were fine. We had that massive rain event on April 1st. Some of you may remember it was like a very intense, almost tropical type of rain that did infiltrate in from the 11th floor of the structure all the way down to the lower 2 levels.
Still open up there on the 11th?
The roof is not on the building yet.
Oh, my gosh,
Yeah.
really?
They're giving a time period.
The last schedule they provided was April 1st, but obviously that didn't happen. So we did have to cut out some of the drywalls fairly on the lower levels vertically of our walls, and we're still kind of digesting what the schedule and cost impacts are going to be to the project.
Did they tell you when the roof is going to be on there?
Well, it's supposed to be on by April 1st, but that didn't happen. But that schedule has slipped continuously over time.
Who is their general contractor?
It's Powers Construction out of Chicago. Higley is the local representative.
Yeah, but
Have we consulted with council?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
We did. We were impacted on schedule as far back as last November because we wanted to start our drywall and we knew we couldn't because it was raining inside the building. So we told them we're experiencing delays.
Yeah, was it November we had our hard-hatted tour?
That's right, you recall. So we said we intend to transfer these costs via the shared cost arrangement under the development agreement, once it's all figured out exactly what those costs will be. By February, we felt like, okay, the water infiltration is managed. We feel we were definitely adopting a little bit of a risk position, but felt like we were in good shape to move forward. And then again, 3 months later, we're surprised with flooding we had 2 weeks ago.
That's an 11-story building or 12?
11 stories.
Uh-huh.
The work still progresses. There's still good productivity on site. This was a setback, but not a catastrophic one. And so we're still looking forward to opening MLK Day 2025.
And the damages are not to finished areas at all. They're to
The drywall was in place, taped and mudded. There hadn't been any paint. The acoustic plaster, thank goodness, hadn't started going down yet. None of the final finishes were in.
So at least whatever damage and costs are involved, it will be less than general construction type.
It'll be
prices.
the demolition and then the putback of the drywall should be the extent of it.
So are you giving up on the hope of any possibility of January and now thinking it's?
No, we were on schedule to have a certificate of occupancy by August. and then figuring a few months for furniture. We were holding open the possibility of a soft open in the fall for the MLK celebration to be the grand opening in January. So I think we may, the window of kind of a soft fall opening, we may be closing on us, but I still feel good about opening for January 2025.
We'll keep that set, yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. Let's go on to the Build Advocacy Foundation and Diversity.
Sure. Good afternoon. My report is pretty simple. It was, we hosted the governor here recently, and we are gearing up for Legislative Day next week. And that's really what we're focusing on. Director Thomas and I met with Kevin Conwell last month to talk about some updates in his area, and we continue to keep our elected officials apprised of what's going on with their branches, what's happening in their neighborhoods, getting them engaged in the openings and groundbreakings and all of that good stuff. So that work is continuing to advance. With regard to the foundation report, we did not reach our goal for Library Giving Day. We had a goal of $30,000. We raised nearly $20,000. It was better than last year because the power of having a dedicated staff member working on it, which we had this year. And so we did see an increase from last year. I think one thing to marvel at is that we did have 50 new donors, which is really good. If anyone knows about donor acquisition, it's one of the toughest things to do. So we did get that. And we also.
Excuse me, when you said 20,000, does that mean before it was doubled to 40,000?
That's inclusive of the board match.
Oh, so it was really 10,000?
Yeah, it was less than that.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I want to underscore the power of sharing on your socials. Thank you for those who shared on their socials. Our board president shared, and he brought in 1,000 of that for the foundation. So it is powerful when you share, and our team did a good job. Melanie did a great job, and she will continue to build up on that. In addition to that, I think that is it for now for the foundation. I just lost all my
Who
thoughts,
was
but
responsible for the doubling? I didn't get.
67% of the board, they contributed
I
to
see.
that. Mhm. But it's still not too late. The thank you will either went out today or.
Until they do that again. Thank you.
Yes. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. This month, I'm pleased to report that the DEI department, alongside our cultural diversity ERG, held its first Eid celebration at our Eastman campus. More than 100 Muslims attended this event, and the day consisted of 10 stations for families to enjoy, which consisted of free books, ethnic foods, balloon twisting, 360 photo booth, sewing, calligraphy, bookmarks, henna tattoos, budding making, arts and crafts, and story time. Also in recognition of Black Maternal Health Week, which was April 11th through 17th, we, alongside with the Talk on Tuesdays ERG, partnered with Village of Healing, Neighborhood Family Practice Community Health Center to host a movie screening of a documentary entitled Motherhood Through the Lens that was produced by Dr. Aday on Monday, April 15th, which was here in our Lewis Stokes wing in the auditorium. Approximately 55 people were in attendance to seize the opportunity to network and view the movie screening, followed by a panel discussion with representatives from Enlightened Solutions, NRP Adia Stream, Village of Healing, and Neighborhood Family Practice. And lastly, the department, alongside with Ms. Jacqueline Lamb and her team, will be partnering with CMSD Integrated Health Department to start things off with this department. Youth and Family Services will have both a booth at the CMSD's Annual Health Expo, which will be led by CMSD's Integrative Health Executive Director, Bernetta Wiggins, and her team of SLPs, OTs, and PTs on April 26th and 27th at the East Professional Center. Moving forward, together we will meet quarterly to ensure that we work seamlessly together to support our scholars as it relates to integrated health and education.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You've been busy.
That concludes community services.
Thank you, Trustee Parker. There is no old or new business at this time. We do have several public comments, and we have two of our guests here. Reverend Pinckney Butts, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're well.
I have been super busy.
Of
all
course
keep
you
me
are.
busy. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody.
Good morning,
Uh,
afternoon.
I guess I have, I have a built-in microphone, but I will stand and be obedient to this one.
Yes, 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, it's good to see you all again. And Trustee Corrigan, I've been trying to reach you.
I know, and I
wrote you a
just
letter
in case.
today, and it
Okay.
says, will you please assist me legally also receiving the proceeds, and this, just listen to me, from the selling of my books I have authored and published. 20 plus vendors are selling my book. I have not gotten a dime in the proceeds. And the thing that's bothering me about it is that you all bought my book, and you have it in the library, and you all give things to the public for free.
Yes, we do. And we're so proud of that.
Absolutely. And it makes me sad to think that people will steal from us, because this is a we thing. 20 plus, and not just here in America, but 4 countries also, and 4 different foreign languages for books that you bought. And I'm willing to donate the proceeds from any legal proceedings, some of the proceeds to the library, because you all know I'm a need meter, a bridge builder, and a gap builder. I restore gaps. I replace gaps, and I build bridges for gaps. And one of the things I would like to see, if I could get you to do this, Trustee Attorney Corrigan, I would like to make sure that the proceeds go to literacy and the cosmetics of some of the buildings in the communities. The Union Library it's an eyesore. It really is. And I was over there, and their printer doesn't work, and that's been working for probably a year now. So that's just one of the things. And I also have an incentive that I go around to different places where I find out the needs of the person, the concerns, the comments, Ms. Butts. I'm so glad to see you still here. And what are people committed to every day? We can end illiteracy if we know what people are committed to every day. We can end violence if we know what people are committed to every day. We could end mass incarceration and homelessness if we could find out what people are committed to absolutely every day. And tearing up our buildings and that type of thing would cease if we could find out the commitments of the people, and we can get them reading, because the more we read, the more we succeed. And I just am so glad. I talk to Aaron still all of the time. I call and sing to him on the phone, and he just waits for his song. But Trustee Corrigan, I have more books that I have authored and published. I have one that I've been working on, Gun Violence, the Silence, where we know that gun violence is not the result of the after effects of the shooting of the gun. The gun violence is the result of the manufacture, sale, trade, and production of guns, which is more prevalent today than ever before. And I would love if you would work with me, and I work with you, and I could do what I need to do financially to help this library to build communities.
And I apologize, Reverend, for not getting back to you. I want you to know that I'm seriously concerned about a precedent or appearance ethically about, as a member of the board, representing somebody in connection with their services or anything, even though it's for your charitable purposes. You're not trying to get rich on it yourself.
No, I have my own publishing company also.
Right.
And you know, I'm running for president of the United States in this election.
Right, and my concern is it's really inappropriate in terms of appearance of propriety for me to represent somebody who's in effect a patron of the library, trying to work with the library and creating.
Okay, well, you know what, if you would have a conversation with me and we work together, I want to do something for this library. You all are super sweet. And I have not been able to go to the recording studio because my vocal cords are far greater than the room. And I'm not but able to go back over there. So I'm sure we're going to even work something out on that, because you know I love my singing.
Okay.
But whatever, I'm glad we have that understanding now.
And we'll figure out something, because what I'm trying to do is find you somebody who can be good counsel for that.
Not just that, because I have a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do with you all, but you know, I'm as busy as you are.
Let's make sure she gets the info for the next legal aid clinic, which I think is.
They're not gonna do anything. No, what I have is bigger than that.
Okay.
It's big, no, it's bigger and greater than that. I have like international, like nationals type thing. And they don't have the budget for that.
Well, thank you
Thank
so
you so
much. It was
You know,
great.
it's good to see, I'm glad you see still handling the business.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Ivan Williams, please. Salud. 2 minutes, Mr. Williams, if I may.
My name is Ivan Williams, and I have a beauty consultant business that deals in training, product, service, and promotions. And one of the things that we promote every year, which we're going to step it up, is Black Beauty Industry Week. And it's from July the 8th through the 14th. And I'd like to thank that gentleman that gave me that intro. The one when I walked in, he was talking about the tech, because we're bringing the beauty industry into the tech world. And we're working with Cleveland State, CMHA, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a lot of people on board with us. I've done a lot of things here, programs at the library. And when I'm originally from Cleveland, born and raised. Lived in New York for 20 years and South Carolina for 10 years. And I came back to Cleveland, not because I was homesick. I came back to Cleveland because Cleveland is the best location in the nation. East of the Mississippi River is where the majority of Americans live, and dead center of that is Cleveland. And 500 miles from Cleveland is everybody that we need to know. And outside of that, they're considered icing on the cake. So what we want to do is we're already doing it in Cleveland, where we have these different programs and we have people on, like CMHA is stepping up their computer stuff. And we want to connect them to the library. Well, there's a lot of different, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is getting ready to have their induction ceremony, which needs to be in Cleveland every year. And it will do for Cleveland what we had this past week every year. But we have to step up and say, we did the votes, we got the money, we built it, we want it here every year. But we have to change minds. For example, I hear in the media all the time that Cleveland is in the Midwest. We are not. The Midwest is a different time zone. We're on the North Coast. We're in a very special place. You don't hear New Orleans say we're on the West Coast. They say we're on the Gulf Coast. So we need to say it over and over and over again like rappers. We are on the North Coast, a very special place. So, and Garrett Morgan invented the hair relaxer. This is the Black beauty capital of the world. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like I was saying with the North Coast thing. The problem with, I told you I lived in New York for 20 years, did very well in New York for 20 years. The problem with New York coming here every year is that we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony during the worst time we have weather. Nobody wants to take a vacation at that time. If we took and moved the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony to the last week in July, the first week in August is the Football Hall of Fame, we could have everybody in the world, every celebrity and athlete in the world in Cleveland during the time of our best weather. We just have to change how we think, and then we can change how we look. So I'm asking the library, I was looking at that presentation that the gentleman made, because we're working with Cleveland State and Tri-C, and the women's prison has a beauty program. I would like for the People's University to be the point person for this particular event. And I have an affinity with the library because one of my favorite people in history is Cleopatra. And when Caesar asked her where was the secrets of Egypt, she says in the library, and Caesar was burning the library down. I love the library. I don't want to see it burn down. As a matter of fact, I heard somebody talking about money. You know, online, I donate money to the library all the time. I got a letter from Facebook saying we can no longer accept your money to give it to, and I came here one time to ask, well, how do I give money? And well, we'll get back to you. Nobody told me how to do it.
We're almost out of time.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead, briefly.
lastly, when I did come back to Cleveland, I became an urban hiker, and I looked around. One of the first places I came to was the library. And this was a cover of a magazine. This is 2000, working at home. So I would like to continue that relationship. Here's some information.
Thank you.
And my information.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And go meet Miss Shanice Johnson Thomas over there.
Yeah,
She will tell
she's-
you
yes.
about how to donate.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We also have 3 comments that were sent in, and I'm just gonna briefly summarize them all if I could. One was from Craig Bobby, and it was about the microfilm viewers that they're broken. And sometimes he talked about that the computers that they rely upon are also broken. And we did respond back to this gentleman to let him know that the new machines are on order. So that is one of them. The other one is from Charlie Yang, and he came in and he stepped in at the Cleveland Public Library, and he was so happy to see all the Chinese books and magazines that we have here. He said the staff were very friendly, and he continued to talk about how other Stanford Library binds all their old magazines and volumes. So we did appreciate that he provided this information to us, and we'll be looking into it. And then lastly, from Rob Korecki, and I apologize if I didn't say it correctly, and he talked about the printing policy at Rice Branch. He felt that, we do give 5 free black and white a day, and you can also print up to 25 pages. But on this particular day, he felt he needed more. He had to do some medical printing for a neighbor or something. So this too has been addressed, and that'll be done separately, or we try to help everybody on all of their needs. So these are the 3 that were sent in, and all of these have been addressed, and we have responded back to our patrons. And there is no more public comment. So at this time, I call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good.